In the silent deserts of Khorasan, under the vast sky filled with stars, a child was born who would one day protect the words of the Prophet Muhammad for generations to come. His name was Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj. The world did not know it yet, but this child would grow up to compile one of the most authentic books ever written in Islamic history. This was a time when Islam had already spread across lands and empires. Cities were growing. Scholars were traveling. Knowledge was flowing like rivers. But there was also a danger. False narrations were spreading. Weak stories were being mixed with true ones. Lies were being attached to the name of the Prophet. And when a lie is attached to the Messenger of Allah, it is not small. It is a disaster. So Allah chose certain people to protect the truth. Imam Bukhari was one. Imam Muslim was another. Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj was born in Nishapur in present-day Iran, around 821 CE. He grew up in a home that loved knowledge. As a young boy, he was not interested in games or wealth. His heart was attached to learning. While other children played, he memorized narrations. By the age of 10, he was already attending gatherings of scholars. By the age of 12, he started writing Hadith. And by his teenage years, he had decided something big. He would travel the world to collect the sayings of the Prophet directly from the most reliable scholars. Imagine this. No cars. No planes. No internet. Only camels, horses, and long journeys across deserts. But he did not care. For the love of Hadith, distance meant nothing. He traveled to Iraq, Hijaz, Egypt, Syria, Khorasan, Basra, Kufa, Baghdad, Medina. Thousands of miles. Sometimes hungry. Sometimes tired. Sometimes sleeping under the open sky. But always chasing one thing, authentic knowledge. Wherever he heard that a trustworthy scholar had a hadith, he went there. Even if it meant months of travel. Because for him, every hadith was precious. It was the voice of the Prophet echoing through time. And that voice had to be preserved perfectly. During these journeys he met more than 200 scholars. Among them was the great Imam Bukhari himself. Imam Muslim admired him deeply. He would sit with him for hours, learning the science of hadith verification. Their relationship was beautiful. Not competition but respect. Two giants working for the same mission. To protect the Sunnah. But collecting hadith was not easy. Anyone could say, I heard this narration. But how do you know if they are telling the truth? This is where Imam Muslim's genius appeared. He didn't just collect stories. He investigated people. Yes, people. He studied every narrator. Their memory. Their character. Their honesty. Their lifestyle. If a narrator ever lied even once in normal life, Imam Muslim rejected their hadith. If someone had weak memory, he rejected. If someone met the teacher only once, he rejected. If there was even the smallest doubt, he rejected. Authenticity was everything. Some narrations sounded beautiful, but he still rejected them. Because emotions don't matter. Truth matters. Out of nearly 300,000 narrations he heard, he selected only around 4,000 authentic ones. Think about that. He rejected almost 99%. That's how strict he was. Years passed. His beard turned white. His knowledge grew deeper. And finally, after decades of sacrifice, he completed his masterpiece. Sahih Muslim. A book that would become the second most authentic book in Islam after the Quran and Sahih Bukhari. But this was not just a book. It was a fortress. A shield protecting the words of the Prophet from corruption. His organization was unique. Unlike others, Imam Muslim arranged hadith in a beautiful system. He grouped similar narrations together. He showed different chains. He compared wordings. So scholars could easily analyze authenticity. It was systematic. Precise. Scientific. Centuries before modern research methods. Scholars later said, if Sahih Bukhari is the most authentic, Sahih Muslim is the most organized. His dedication was legendary. One night, while searching for a specific hadith, he stayed awake the entire night. He kept checking narrations again and again. He forgot food. He forgot rest. He only wanted accuracy. Because for him this wasn't a job. It was worship. Every letter was reward. Every hadith was responsibility. He knew that millions of Muslims would depend on this book. And he feared Allah more than anything. Years later, when Sahih Muslim spread across the Muslim world, scholars were amazed. They said, no one has compiled like this before. Students traveled from everywhere to learn from him. His gatherings were filled. His respect grew. But he remained humble. Always soft. Always simple. Because true scholars don't seek fame. They seek Allah. In 875 CE, Imam Muslim passed away in Nishapur. But death could not stop him. Because knowledge never dies. Today, more than 1,100 years later, his book is still alive. Still studied. Still trusted. Still printed in millions. Every mosque. Every madrasa. Every scholar. Every student. They all say the same thing. Sahih Muslim. When someone says, authentic Hadith, his name shines. This is the legacy of sincerity. A man who walked deserts so we could read Hadith from our phones today. A man who sacrificed comfort so we could know the words of our Prophet correctly. Ask yourself, when you open Sahih Muslim, do you realize the sweat behind it? The tears behind it? The nights without sleep? The miles walked? The sacrifices made? Every page carries history. Every narration carries trust. Every hadith carries light. And that light continues to guide the ummah. Because Allah promised, He will protect this religion. And Imam Muslim was one of the protectors. Not a warrior with a sword, but a warrior with knowledge. Not fighting enemies, but fighting lies. And that is sometimes the greater battle. His story teaches us something powerful. You don't need to be rich to change the world. You don't need power to leave a legacy. All you need is sincerity. One person, one mission, one book, and centuries remember your name. This is Sahih Muslim. This is dedication. This is love for the Prophet. And this is how history is written.